Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who taught us this truth and continually teach us this truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect. There's laboring in this word and truth and sincerity. Lord willing, this could be an edifying video. It's going to be a really quick video. All right, just want to speak on, because Trump, yesterday he declared a global tariff to of 10%, but, it's coming out today that, he didn't put it to 15%. And as you see right here, the heading says Donald Trump just announced a new 15% tax on the American people. He does not care about you because he's deceived people into thinking that tariffs is a good thing, into thinking that pretty much he's getting a lot of money from these other nations, when in reality, the tariffs are passed on to the American consumer. Okay, so, this is just going to cause more prices to go up. And then at the same time, we're about to be on the brink of, we are on the brink, Salakia. We're on the brink of the third woe. Okay, World War III, which they're trying to say that, Trump and, Iran have reached, uranium. They have reached a uranium enrichment deal, and, this is just lies. Okay, because the largest U.S. carrier, I believe it just landed over there, or is going to be there in like 24 hours, something like that. The largest aircraft carrier, the one they had on the coast of Venezuela. All right. All the money they done spent getting all the equipment over there, and, BB came over here and spoke with Trump. Ain't no going back. All right. It's the will of the Lord that this war breaks out, and when it fully does and the Strait of Hormuz is closed, that's going to add even more to the price increase. So, you got that situation which can cause oil to get to $120 a barrel or more. It could be $150. It could be way more than that. Okay, and that's going to cause gas prices to go up, which is going to cause diesel to go up, which will cause what? Food to go up. Okay, everything is going to cost more. Okay, on top of this 15% tariff that he's doing globally, and France then already clapped back, said the EU will respond. So this is what was put on his Truth Social. It says, based on a thorough, detailed, and complete review of the ridiculous, poorly written, and extraordinary anti-American decision on tariffs issued yesterday, after many months of contemplation by the United States Supreme Court. So he's clapping back because I believe the Supreme Court denied his 10% tariff or something like that. It says, please let this statement serve to represent that I, as President of the United States of America, will be effective immediately, raising the 10% worldwide tariff on countries, many of which have been ripping the U.S. off for decades without retribution, until I came along, to the fully allowed and legally tested 15% level. During the next short number of months, the Trump administration will determine to issue the new and legally permissible tariffs, which will continue our extraordinary successful process of making America great again. So, he's the cruel Lord. Okay, and all he's doing is pissing off his allies and showing you American people, you Babylonians, that he don't give a damn about y'all, man. Okay, so, we're about to see prices spike very soon. Okay, everything is going to go up. And this is going to usher into Isaiah 4:1. Okay, because women are going to be desperate. All right, you ain't gonna be making money on the internet no more because everybody gonna be struggling. All right, but I want to grab this real quick. This Revelation chapter 6. You know, we always bring this out. Revelation chapter 6, and I want to get second Edges 6. Okay, Revelation chapter 6, verse 6. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And the penny just represents a day's wage. Okay, which the US dollar is losing value, is constantly losing value, and that's why, you know, it seemed like prices are going up, but in reality, the dollar is losing value, inflation is going up. And, you know, this whole the 15% tariffs, and, you know, once this war fully crack off, we're going to see inflation go into hyperinflation, which that's what this is, which when you read it in the NLT, and I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. So, you know, this is hyperinflation. Okay, a loaf of bread, you know, if you want it fresh and not expired, you know, it'll cost you $20 to $50. You know, a gallon of milk, $30. A carton of eggs, $25. Okay. Now you can get some expired milk for the low. You can get a gallon of expired milk for $8. You know, hey, because when you go into the famine in Samaria, it got so bad that they were selling, you know, animal shit for pieces of silver. So the scriptures say, you know, there hasn't been a time like this, nor shall there ever be. So this famine is going to surpass all the famines in the ancient world, because at least in the ancient world, you know, people knew, you know, the herbs and how to, you know, till the earth, and, you know, were more connected to the earth. But this time, this go around, people are not connected to the earth, man. People are conditioned and used to going to a grocery store, okay, or a farmer's market, okay. And, you know, the scriptures say, because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So this is going to cause violence to escalate. All right. So this is all going to lead to hyperinflation, man. That's why when you go here, you know, because it's going to lead to violence. When prices get ridiculously high, people not going to be, you know, going into stores, buying and trying to do it the good way. No, man, people going to be in there just stealing, looting. You know, waiting on people to come out the grocery store, seeing who got a cart full of groceries and rolling up on them, robbing them, man. This is what's coming. This second Esdras chapter 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. The modern day sword is the gun. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. That's what this is all going to lead to. It's going to lead to a lack of bread and great tribulation. So these tariffs, this is a good thing, man, for us, because it's going to lead to the fulfillment of these prophecies. All right. So, you know, prices are about to go up even more. Okay, especially once this war fully crack off. Okay, which I'm hoping that, you know, they do this attack, man. You know, they dragging their feet. You know, but it's going to happen when the Lord wants it to happen. All right, but when you go to second Esdras, the 6th chapter, I believe it is, 6 and 22, yep. It says, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. So, you know, when this happens, you know, sometimes I go to the grocery store and a lot of shit be empty. It's like, damn, because these stores, they have to get trucks. At least, you know, it's like a big grocery store. They have to get them at least I'll say like 4 times a week, 4 or 5 times a week. They have to keep it replenished. Okay, because I remember when I worked at a convenience store, we had to get a truck every week to keep things replenished, because things go, you know, items go away fast, man. Okay, and when it's panic, just like you had during the whole 2020 situation, with the C-19, you know, you had people panic buying. You know, you couldn't find tissue or hand sanitizer. You know, everywhere you went, you know, they would. Then they started saying one case of water per customer. You know, it's gonna go back to that, man. But people just gonna say fuck it. All right, but see, this is gonna happen because people are gonna just panic and start stealing, man. And you know, you gonna have factions, militia groups taking over grocery stores. Hey, it's about to get real, man. All of these things are gonna be reality. Okay, because this is a part of, you know, doomsday apocalypse, you know, type situations. Okay, you look at these apocalyptic movies. You know, these are things that you see. You know, empty stores. You know, glass everywhere, barricaded. You know, windows. You know, these. You know, it's gonna be empty, man. Okay. So all of these things are coming. All right, it's gonna be a shortage of food. Okay, but the scriptures say, others shall mourn and weep, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. And it says that death and famine thou shalt laugh. So, you know, we're not going to be affected by this. You know, the Lord is going to provide for his servants. But, you know, these tariffs and, you know, the situation with, you know, Iran, you know, when this war fully crack off, you know, oil's going up through the roof. This is going to cause everyday goods to skyrocket, man, which is going to lead to Isaiah 4:1, because, you know, women, they're not going to be able to do it on their own. They're going to need a man. They're going to need, you know, support, man. All right, the government ain't going to be supporting y'all no more. Okay, these simps, they ain't even going to have the money to send you no more. Okay, you know, these peas, they going to be selling it for oodles and noodles, man. You know? It's about to get real serious, man. All right? And the scriptures say it's better to die by the sword than to die by hunger. Okay? So, you know, this is all going to lead to famine. It's going to lead to hyperinflation. It's going to lead to chaos in the streets, man. Just want to do this quick video. With that, I'm going to say shalom.